So, let's take a moment with those Shabbat melodies in our ears and in our hearts. Let's take a deep breath. It has been a week. We are going to talk about some of the harder parts of the week later in the service, but we are not going to take away from the joy of Shabbat. No matter what day of the year it is, no matter whether it is an upbeat part of the year or a sad part of the year, no matter what is going on in our lives, we are commanded to not only to observe Shabbat, but to celebrate it, to light candles, to sing psalms of praise, even when it doesn't always feel like that's the mood that we're in. We are meant to enjoy even a little bit, even amongst the darkness. We are meant to find light. So that's what we are going to do here together this Shabbat. We are going to find light, and we are going to bring in light with the lighting of Shabbat candles. I would love if there is somebody who is joining us online who would be willing to share with us this reading. Is there anybody who'd like to volunteer?
I can do it. Hi, Zoe.
Hi, thank you, Sonia.
As we enter this sacred time of Shabbat, may Adonai help us put aside our stresses of daily life and absorb the calm of this holy moment. As Shabbat begins, may Adonai revive our ability to feel the infinite potential this ceasing affords us to regather our scattered selves. In the hollowed space Shabbat creates, may Adonai refresh our connections to our loved ones and community, expanding the threads which bind us together.
Thank you. We are about to light the Shabbat candles, and for those who are online, if you have not yet lit candles, I encourage you to light with us. And if you are in person, I hope that you'll feel encouraged to say the blessing with us. Is there someone who wants to say the blessing with us? Please hold just one moment. Okay, you want to say the blessing with me? That's okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. High five, you did it. Good job. We continue on page 132 with the words, and by 132 I really mean 131, and we are going to sing Shiru Ladonai Shir Chadash, sing unto God a new song. are on page 138 for the words of Lecha Dodi. Lecha Dodi, Likat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Mekabela. Lecha Dodi, Likat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Mekabela. Shamor v'zachor, b'dibur echad, yishmi'anu el hamichad. Adonai echad, u'shmo echad, v'shemo tiferet v'mitchila. Lecha Dodi, Likat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Mekabela. Lecha Dodi, Likat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Mekabela. Likrat Shabbat, lechu v'nachar, ki mekor ha'beracha. Merosh mikedem nesucha, shocha aseh, v'machshvat tefila. Lecha Dodi, Likat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Mekabela. Lecha Dodi, Likat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Mekabela. Please rise in all the ways that you're able. Boi v'shalom, ateret ba'ala, gam besimcha uv'tohala. Toch emunei am segula, boi chala, boi chala. Lecha Dodi, Likat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Mekabela. Lecha Dodi, Likat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Mekabela. Please be seated. We are on page 142 for Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barchuni l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzeitzchem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. are on page 146 for the Barchu. Please rise in all the ways you are able. Please be seated. On the next page. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzevaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. We are on page 152 for the words of Shema. Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. Do we have someone who is doing the reading before Michamocha?
Yes, I'll do that.
Oh, I think that we have, Janice is going to do it for us in person. Sorry about that, Jack.
Okay.
Can I just lean into this? They say cold feet are a sign of turning back, the failure of internal will. But I say it can be the other way, the body's anticipation of things to come. Whether demons are nipping at your heels or gnawing within, here's the thing. Settle quietly, close your eyes, and take the most deliberate deep breath, as though it were the very first, God's breath. And when you can feel it penetrate every bit of your being, making the rest of your life possible, you open your eyes and take that first step out into the sea of reeds. Watered feet are just the price of coming home.
Thank you. We are on page 158 for the words of Mi Chamocha. Mi Chamocha Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Spread over us and over all people your shelter of peace. Oh, guide my steps and help me find my way. I need your shelter now. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps and help me make this day a song of praise to you. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps. Ufros aleinu sukat shelomecha. Ufros aleinu sukat shelomecha. Oh, guide my steps and help me find my way. I need your shelter now. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps and help me make this day a song of praise to you. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps. Give us a place to rest, Adonai, our God. We're on page 160, my apologies. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. We continue with the core part of our service, our tefillah, our prayers. We are on page 164. Please rise in all the ways that you are able. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei Aboteinu ve'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'Koneh HaKol, Ve'Zocher Chastei Avot ve'Imahot, U'Mevi Geula Livnei B'neihem, Le'ma'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechaye hakol atah Rav le'Hoshia. Morid hatah, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechaye hakol berachamim rabim. סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Please take a moment for your own silent prayer and feel free to be seated when you are finished. Shalom, shalom, liromav, uya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'achol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Uya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Amen. Before we begin this evening, I want to acknowledge that we are going to be talking about the violence that took place this week. This is a hard topic for each and every one of us in different ways. And you know for yourself what your needs are. If you need to take a step away to get a glass of water, if you need to turn off your computer's sound for the next 10 minutes, that's okay too. This space is for us to be together in whatever way is going to be best for us, and we need to take care of ourselves. Every child comes into this world with a message. God is not discouraged from us. For with every child comes hope for new possibilities. Every child brings fresh energy into the world for greater fulfillment and purpose to all the lives that surround it. Each soul is testimony to our conviction that we still believe life is good, that life is worthwhile, that hope is here. A poem from L'chol Zman V'Eit. When I moved to Cincinnati for rabbinical school, I had an opportunity to student teach at a Hebrew immersion Jewish day school. I love working with kids, and I was so excited to continue speaking Hebrew after having lived in Jerusalem for a year. Before classes began, my supervisor invited me to attend a safety training for the teachers and staff. And at the time, I was just excited to be included. From the outside, the beginning looked much like any other safety training. There was a PowerPoint presentation, lots of questions for the Q&A, a discussion of run, hide, fight. But this was not like any other training that I had been to. As I sat looking at the murals on the walls that the students had helped paint, I heard the officer say, "We train because unfortunately, we don't see this as an if, but a when." I started to notice the overwhelm from the teachers in the room, seeing them do the tactical math in their heads about how they can protect 20 other lives at a time in addition to their own. Noticing that during the Q&A, so many of the questions were asked with a quivering voice. What happens if? And then we did an exercise. I want you to pretend that you are having a regular day with students, teachers A, B, and C. You are going to be going to the playground for recess. Teachers D, E, and F, you are going to go to the cafeteria, pretend that it's lunch, and the rest of you go back to your classrooms, and you can decide whether you'll pretend to be with students or whether you'll pretend that it's your prep hour. Our training team members will pose as active shooters, and they will have fake but realistic-looking guns. If they come to your area, I want you to do the protocol that we've discussed. We will come back and debrief afterwards. I followed my supervising teacher to the kindergarten room. We train because we don't see this as an if, but a when. In the hallway, I noticed the little lockers, perfectly shaped for the first and second graders to stuff their superhero backpacks and unicorn folders, and the names of the students were written out on bulletin boards ready for their artwork. We don't see this as an if, but a when. I looked for nearby exits. Where would we go if we needed to evacuate? What if one of our children became paralyzed by fear or began crying? What if we needed to move quicker than the kids were able? We don't see this as an if, but a when. In the classroom, surrounded by little tables and chairs, looking toward the story time carpet, I was speaking with Etty, my supervising teacher. trying to pretend that things were normal. I asked her about what Shabbat songs they liked to sing so that I could begin to learn them. And the conversation almost began to feel normal when Etty went quiet and looked at the door. Then I realized I was between her and the door was open to the hallway. Time stopped. We had discussed that if we heard any suspicious noises or if there was a code called, we would close the door. And I turned around to see a fake but realistic looking gun pointed at me. We hadn't heard them come down the halls. We don't see this as an if, but a when. This week we saw another mass shooting just 10 days after a racially motivated shooting in Buffalo, New York at a grocery store, and the 27th school shooting where there were injuries or deaths in 2022. We don't see this as an if, but a when. We try to tell our children and our loved ones and ourselves that we are safe, but we have had 27 school shootings where there have been injuries or deaths in 2022. Countless lives of students and teachers and parents and siblings and community members and clergy people and have experienced fear and loss and trauma that will need significant healing for years to come, just from the shootings in 2022. 83 people have been injured or killed in school shootings in 2022. 27 of those injuries led to death by school shooting in 2022. Many of these instances took place without our acknowledgement or knowing. It's May. We're not even halfway through the year. This is unacceptable. It is unacceptable that these shootings took place, and it is even more unacceptable that the precious lives were stolen, ripped away from our earth without it even being on our radar. It happens so often that we have become numb. Yet, how can we not become numb? According to Education Week, an education news source publication, who began their school shooting tracker in 2018, there have been 119 school shootings where there was at least one injury or death since the tracker began just 5 years ago. And this is just talking about school shootings. While I have much to say about the epidemic of mass murders by military-style guns happening in all parts of our society, I want to speak this evening about children. Of the 21 lives lost, 19 of them were children. These children, beacons of hope, these whole worlds were at school to laugh, to play, to learn. Earlier this week, Jewish organizations around the country posted a quote from the Talmud that reads, "The world exists because of the breath of school children." These beautiful words seemed pertinent to the moment, but upon further study, I want to share with you why the wider context is even more fitting. This line, "The world exists because of the breath of school children," comes from the Talmud Tractate Shabbat 119b, where the rabbis argue with one another about why it was that Jerusalem and all that was beloved within it was destroyed. This is one of the answers that the rabbis offered. Rav Hamnuna says, Jerusalem was destroyed only because school children were interrupted from their study. Rav Yehuda said that Rav said, "What is the meaning of that which is written, 'Do not touch my anointed ones and do my prophets no harm,' as it's written in 1 Chronicles chapter 16, verse 22. Do not touch my anointed ones. These are our school children who are as precious and important as kings and priests. And do not harm my prophets. These are Torah scholars. Reish Lakish said in the name of Rabbi Yehuda Nasiah, the world only exists because of the breath of school children. Our children are our hope for the future, not only because of the light and the energy that they bring us when they smile, or they give us a hug, or they say, I love you. They are our future world builders and healers. They are meant to spend their youth learning and growing and being inspired and realizing the potential that they have, and telling their friends and their family what they learned about in school, and imagining a world that they want to see, and gaining the skills to get us there. These are the things that are meant to take place in houses of study. These are the things that are meant to take place in school. Though it seems that this text seems to be talking about the importance of Torah study specifically, saying that Jerusalem was destroyed because the students were interrupted from their study of Torah so many years ago, I want to recontextualize this for today. Our country and all that is beloved in it is being destroyed because our children are being interrupted from their studies. Their studies are being interrupted by shooting after shooting, lockdown after lockdown, because our society, our decision makers, our funders, our sources of information have painted for us a convincing picture of reality where dying by military-style gun is just a part of life, even at school. Our world, the one that exists because of the breath of school children, is constantly losing or preparing to lose that breath, that light, and that hope. We do not have to live in a world where we see this as a when. This does not have to be reality, and we cannot fall prey to the lie that this is normal or unavoidable. We can grieve, we can cry, we can despair, we can pray, we can notice how hopeless and powerless we feel sometimes, but we cannot become numb, and we cannot accept that preparing for when is enough. It's not. Our children, our sources of hope for the future, are looking to us. As we know from the Ve'ahavta, which we say each time we pray, showing love is not just about feelings or nice things that we say. It is about the actions that we take, both big and small, and that which we do daily. We owe it to our children, to one another, and to ourselves to battle the numbness towards gun violence that is encroaching into our lives, and to do something. We'll close with a prayer for peace. Words found among the core prayers of our service, the Tefillah, as well as the last line of the Mourner's Kaddish, Oseh Shalom. Oseh Shalom, Bimromav, Hu Yaseh Shalom, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu, Yaseh Shalom Aleinu, Oseh Shalom. Bimromav. aseh shalom aleinu. With these words of Torah on our hearts and minds, we think of those who are in need of healing, healing of body, healing of spirit. If there's someone on your heart who you would like to send a healing prayer to, and you are with us virtually, I encourage you to say their name aloud or in your heart, perhaps to someone else in the room. And for those who are in person with us, I encourage you to share their name aloud as my hand passes over your section.
Sherry King and Hoda to our remainder families in Texas and also anyone restricted or departed by the U.S. Cheryl Smith, Adrian Brown, Greg Spiegel, Ellen, my sister Jeannie, and Jim.
We'll take a moment in case anybody's still typing. We turn to page 371 for the words of Mi Shebeirach. And we pray for everyone to have a refuah shlema, a full healing. Mi Shebeirach Avoteinu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi Shebeirach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. We continue on page 586 with the words of Aleinu. Please rise in all the ways you are able. Aleinu leshabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula liotzer breshit, shalo asanu kegoye haratzot, velo samanu kamishbachot adama, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו, ושמו, ושמו אחד. At this time, we think of those who have been called to their eternal rest in recent days. Please be seated. Before we name those who were important to our families, we're going to pause a moment in honor of those whose lives were lost this week. This evening, we remember the following people who have been called to rest in recent days. Please rise as your loved one's name is read. Joyce Lindstrom, remembered by Arlen Bitter-Peavy. And we remember with tenderness those who have died in the past 30 days. Joanne Hageman, remembered by Ann Anderson. This Shabbat, we remember the yahrzeits, or the anniversaries of the deaths of the following people. Dorothy Green, remembered by Joseph Bradley. Leonard Green, father of Renee Gay. Barney King, husband of Babe King. Rachel Picker, remembered by Amos Picker. Frances Sachs, mother of Rick Sachs. Sonia Spitalnik, remembered by Zoya Kravitz. And Judith Wolfson, remembered by Deborah Salcedo. We now invite all who are observing their first year of mourning to rise at this time. And we now rise as a community with our mourners and turn to page 598 for the words of Mourner's Kaddish. Yitzgadal v'yitzkadash shemei Rabbi, be'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbi mevorach le'olam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei dekudsha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru. Amen. Zichronam livracha, may all of their memories be for a blessing, to which we say, Amen. Please be seated. We now come to words of announcement It's my pleasure to invite up David Benoon to share what is going on in our community.
I don't have to bend down too far. Does this sound good? Shavuot is around the corner. Join us and Congregation Beth Emek in June for 2 special Shavuot programs. On Saturday, June 4th at 7:30 p.m., we will be hosting a Shavuot service and study session. Then on Sunday, June 5th at 12 noon, we'll be having the Shavuot edition of Soulful Storytime with a special ice cream social to follow. Pre-registration is encouraged. There will also be an online Shavuot Yizkor service at 10:30 a.m. on Sunday. The annual congregation meeting is Wednesday, June 8th at 7 p.m. Once again, this will be a Zoom-only meeting and pre-registration is required. The meeting is only open to current TBT members. So I'm on item 2. I've got 5, so I'm going to have to play with this. I did. Well, yeah, it's my knees. There we go.
You could just leave it. There you go.
I did 6 hours in the garden today. It was my day off, so I'm a little sore. Let's see. Item 3. Have you RSVP'd for the 60th anniversary gala on June 25th yet? Don't wait for the last minute or you might lose out on joining us. And check out our TBT 60th anniversary information page on the website. We're updating it frequently with more event details as well as registration and payment links. While you're there, add your voice to our community poem using the online form. You can also contribute using the cards on the table in the social hall. It's easy, just a sentence or 2, no prior writing experience necessary. Roses are red. We're also still looking for contributions of items to be included in our silent auction as well as sponsors for the printed program and gala. Because we know that protecting democracy and fighting for justice and sustainability go hand in hand, RAC California's new climate justice campaign will work in tandem with the national Every Voice, Every Vote campaign. Join Rabbi Zoe on Thursday, June 9th at 7 p.m. as she helps us kick off a statewide RAC California climate justice campaign to build a Jewish, interfaith, and multiracial coalition powerful enough to address the climate crisis that is impacting every Californian. Thank you to Jonas Fenteno and Susan Amaro for representing the worship committee, to Tony Monroe for being on AV, and to Michelle Eisenbrook for sharing slides. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. And thank you for sharing announcements with us. Just to put in a personal plug, not that I'm like biased or anything, you can just, yeah, perfect, you got it. Awesome. So first of all, I hope that I'll see you at the 60th. It is going to be a blast and a half. I'm about to go dress shopping in the next couple weeks because I'm just pumped. It's going to be exciting. So if you want to see what Rabbi Zoe is going to wear, it's probably not going to be these pants that I wear every Friday night. So that'll be exciting. And then also, just to put in a plug for the Religious Action Center, it does incredible work around the country. And even in California specifically, we've been doing a number of incredible initiatives. And so we have actually decided, rather than doing, this initiative here and then this initiative here, to really focus our energy for the next couple years on climate change, so that we're not just doing, although it continues to be important, turning off our showers after a short amount of time, turning off our lights, driving less, those are all important, but it's going to take more than just us doing individual things. We have to come together, and they asked me to be an MC, so I hope that some of you will come so you can kind of see the work that we've been doing together. It'll be really fun and important. So, with that being said, let us continue to share some blessings. We will start off with family blessings. I encourage you to reach out to family however you identify. Whoever you identify as family, reach out to them. And if you are not in the same room with somebody you'd like to send a blessing to, I encourage you to close your eyes for a moment and picture them in your mind and hold them in your heart. And we say, may God bless you and keep you. May God shine God's face upon you and be gracious to you. May God's face turn to you and grant you peace, to which we say, Amen. Amen. We continue with blessings of Kiddush. If you are online, you have the next 2.5 seconds to grab your sweet, sweet beverage, whatever it is, as long as it's not water. And we will be on 123 if you want to follow along with the words. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim ki banu v'charta ve'otanu kidashta mikohamim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. L'chaim. And as a reminder for those who are in person, the white is the grape juice, the red is the wine. Make sure that you get the one that you were aiming for. We continue with the motzi. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'te'avon. That was the closing song, you guys. Just kidding. We are going to close wishing the world a Shabbat Shalom, a Shabbat filled with peace. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.